Hello, my fellow movie fans, and welcome to another episode of A Feast of Films Theatre with your hosts, Matthew Ayalew and Ethan R. Hill. How's that? That was good?
Ah, yeah. Classic. Classic. What's going on, my fellow movie fans? Welcome to A Feast of Films, episode 24, part 2, where we're going through our 2008 favorite films. Last week we did mine. This week, we're going to be talking about this guy's favorite films. This guy, whose name is...
Ethan R. Hill?
It's me, Ethan R. Hill. What's
It's
going on,
me
buddy?
again. Still here,
And
still
he's
sitting down,
back.
watching you trying to not fall asleep, which is always fun.
Yeah. And
Being a
he's
man of
back.
responsibilities and having a life as opposed to me who has no life or responsibilities.
But you definitely have taste. that's what we can agree on, I guess.
Whether it's good or bad, that's where we
Is
disagree.
that- yes,
There's taste.
There
it's
you
just,
go. I'm glad you caught on to that. I was wondering if you were actually gonna be like, oh yeah, no. Well, at
I
least
know
someone's
things.
awake.
Yeah, wake is a relative term, really, isn't it?
I guess so. Again, like I said, part 2, episode 24. Last week we did mine. We're doing Ethan's today. His 2008 favorites, and then I got a question of the day for him. It's not as in depth as his, but it should work, and maybe even be a little insightful to everyone here.
Maybe not. Who knows?
You never know.
Your discussion of Semi-Pro reminded me of another movie that I actually watched this week,
Oh yeah,
and that was Like Mike. Do you remember Like Mike?
dude, I just saw that on Disney Plus the other day. I was like, oh yeah, like Mike.
Yeah,
I didn't watch
we
it.
watched it.
Yeah,
We
I
did,
didn't end up watching it, but I saw it on there, and I was like, oh, I remember that movie.
It's a fun time. It's not great by any means, but it's totally like
Lil Bow
early
Wow.
2000s.
Kids.
Remember when Lil Bow Wow
Yeah.
was gonna be a thing?
Yeah, that died
And he
pretty
just-
quick.
Well, it's because he aged. He didn't get much taller, but he looked the same and just wrinkled.
He would just Bow Wow. And he
Yep.
just became Bow Wow. But it's like, but you're still kind of little, but okay, it's cool. I mean, I'm not going to judge. I'm not a tall person by any means.
But no, it was fun. It was a fun time. It was a fun revisit to my childhood.
Yeah, I remember going to see that one in theaters way
Right.
back in the day, yeah.
Back at the height of basketball craziness of the early 2000s.
Man, I
and the
kind of want
90s.
to watch that now. Because it's like magical
Do
sneakers or something, right?
Yep. It is, and it is kid friendly, so you could totally like watch it and not worry about your child being exposed to like scary things.
Weird things. Because
Yeah.
there was a lot of weird stuff when we were kids, too. Like, so many things where it's like, why would someone put this in a child's film?
Because back in the day, they weren't afraid to scare the crap out of us.
There was no back in the day, they just weren't good judges of it. They're just like, the kids will be fine. I'm just like,
We
that.
can traumatize them.
Yeah, a little bit of traumatization isn't terrible.
What? And like now, 90% of us are depressed. I don't know. Maybe that's why we're all depressed and anxious. Is because of the trauma
the weird,
in media.
creepy kid stuff that we had to watch, probably.
Fern Gully, thanks, man. That messed me up.
Oh man, I love Fern Gully though. But as a child, yes, it was pretty like, what is going on? It was very disturbing. And then you watch it, you're like, oh, this is like an eco-friendly movie. Okay.
The other thing I got reminded of too, because you mentioned Andre 3000. You're a TikToker, right? You go on TikTok and watch things and stuff.
Every once in a while, here's the thing, I try to avoid it because
It takes a
when
lot
I
of
go
time.
on there, I could easily spend 2 hours just flipping through stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's stupid addicting. I had to move it into a folder and then put it not even on the front page of the folder, but onto the second page. Just so, like, it's one more step away that it's not, like, instantly accessible. Because, yes,
Matt, you mean
for a while, it was a problem, man. Like, I would just stay up so late watching TikToks, and you don't even realize it. Then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, damn, I need to go to bed. Or, like,
Matt,
I
you
need to
mean-
get some work done.
You mean exactly like this? It's inside a folder, and then it's
And then it's over to the side.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Great
it's
minds think
dangerous.
alike,
It's a
man. Oh,
dangerous
yeah.
app. And it's very funny. Like, there is some informative stuff too. I actually really appreciate TikTok. I don't see too much like real negative stuff on there, which is great compared to some other apps. But I do see a platform where people get to be themselves a lot. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
see a lot of people like celebrating their heritage and their cultures. I see people who have different handicaps, like just really embracing them and getting to be creative and put out things. And like, I saw like a dude without legs just like hopping around doing his thing. You know what I mean? Like, but just having fun with it. And like that's something that never existed prior to that. Like in our generation, in our time, it's
Like
like,
Vine would be
and
the
before
closest thing,
that,
and
it's
even
like,
that.
yeah, and even Vine, right, would be closest thing. But even think about before that, right? Like there's just, and Vine
Just
didn't even
YouTube
last.
before that.
Vine didn't even last very long. But I mean, even like before social media, like there was just no platform for these people to celebrate who they were. It was just like you're a freak or you're like less than other people. Like it's kind of the stereotype image that's always portrayed, and it's not true at all. Those people are incredibly courageous and they come up with the most creative ways to like do things because they have to, right? And
Yeah.
it's really inspiring. But to have a platform where people can like celebrate who they are and make these fun videos and be like, I don't give a shit if people like it or don't like it. Like this is who I am and I'm having fun with it. I think that's a great thing. Like I think TikTok overall, like as much as you're like, it's just teenage girls doing gross, weird shit. It's like it's also a really just I think it's a really positive place at the end of the day, at least from what I've seen. Like maybe I just haven't, maybe the algorithm hasn't placed me to like the really crappy parts of TikTok, but most of the stuff I see has been fairly positive.
No, I agree. I've somehow gotten into like music theory and a lot of music TikTok, like a lot of like
Oh,
people
okay.
breaking down how they like record stuff, all that stuff. One of the big ones, the music nerd debate right now, is whether or not Hey Ya is in 11/4 time or in 4/4 time. Have you seen any of that stuff?
No, I haven't seen any of that. No.
Man, it's insane. Like it's one of the funniest debates because like I they keep pointing out how bizarre of a song it is because Andre 3000 says that it's in 11/4 time.
Yeah.
Like counting it that way makes zero sense. It makes no sense to count it in 11/4, and 11/4 doesn't really make sense as a time signature. So everyone's like, no, it's 4/4, and then it switches to one bar of 2/4
Yeah.
at one point. But the weirdest part about it is he counts in on a 3 count because he counts 1, 2, 3, and he says but that isn't the fourth beat.
Yeah.
It's one of the next measure.
Yeah.
So he counts in the song on a 1, 2, 3 time signature, which then switches to a 4/4 time signature, which then also has a 2/4 time signature.
So it's just like all over the place.
It is bizarre, but there's this massive debate where people are like, no, guys, it's definitely 11/4, and they're trying to justify it. And it's like one of the most fascinating things. And like I was gonna ask if you were aware of it. I was gonna ask, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I haven't
But
seen it at all.
You should
seen
you should
any
do
of those at all.
You should do a deep dive and
Oof,
find out about it.
That's scary, man. I'll think about it.
Because I'm curious as a music person. I'm curious what your thoughts would be on that.
It scares me. The idea of going on TikTok, like I just actively avoid it. Like it's just it's so addicting.
If I have nothing to do for a while, then I go on it. But like if I know I need to do stuff, that's actually the there's one I saw where it's like girls like, men, what are you doing for so long in the bathroom? What is taking you so long to poop? And then someone cut to them watching her TikTok asking that question while sitting on the toilet.
That's pretty great, man.
And I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's
Like,
what we do.
Again, and it's just like the creativity of people on TikTok, and
it's
like it just gives
video-
everyone such a platform. Like, can you imagine being able to like make shit on our phones back in high school? Can you imagine all the crazy
Dude, we would have
stuff?
made so much stuff.
Like, dude, can you imagine all the stuff we would have made back in the day? Like, I'm so jealous of these kids who have access to this kind of technology and this platform like today. You know what I mean? Like, because we didn't have anything like that. You know,
The
like
reason-
YouTube was barely a thing.
The reason it's also such a time waster too, though, is they specifically took the clock off of it, so it's not on the top of your phone anymore.
Yeah, so you can't tell
And-
how long you're gonna be on there.
While Vine was a video of 7 seconds, so you could like go through a bunch of vines in like a couple
Very
minutes.
quickly, yeah.
Almost every video is like a minute long on TikTok. So you watch 10 videos, you're 10 minutes gone,
Yeah.
right? but it doesn't feel like it because there's no clock. There's nothing measuring that, right? Like it's good marketing, but it's dangerous marketing. And also, like, I feel like our time perception is really off due to like YouTube and everything like that. Because like YouTube videos used to be like what 1 to 2 minutes long, and people were like, "Well, that's a long time to watch a YouTube video," and now they're like what 15 to.
Well, just it depends on the
hours.
content creator, right? Some people keep
depends if
them
it's-
short. Some people do long ones.
Some people like to talk about movies for 3 to 4 hours. And
Yeah,
break it into
exactly.
2 parts to try and make it seem like it's less.
Exactly.
But that's none of my business.
Those guys.
Who would do that?
I don't know. They're not fooling anybody.
Those were a couple things that popped into my brain, and I was kind of like, I didn't want to interrupt our flow to bring up like Mike halfway through the conversation and Andre 3000 time signatures.
Fair enough.
Well, I guess.
Cool, man. Should we get right into
time?
it? Yeah.
I have some controversial opinions.
2008 favorites. You always
picks.
have some controversial opinions. That's nothing new. We just expect it.
It's weird because I have like some really big budget Hollywood films, and then I have really like the 3 top films I have, which I'll kind of end with, are like my more indie style, smaller scale kind of ones.
Right.
But I'll start off and honestly, okay, full disclosure, 3 of these films are not ones I consider to be good films, but are ones that were awesome to me at the time that I saw them in theaters.
Okay.
So I'll start off with Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
Oh yeah, that one almost made my list. Yeah.
I love the Hellboy franchise. I love that character. I was, for some reason, allowed to watch his movies.
Yeah, that's surprising, actually.
Very
From,
surprising.
What you've told me, I'm like, that's surprising you'd be able to watch
Like,
Hellboy of all movies.
Dude, I saw the first one in theaters. Like, how did I go in 2004?
Yeah.
How did I get to see the first Hellboy? I don't know. It's like my dad knew it was a superhero, and that's why he's like, yeah, because I distinctly had to refer to him as Heck Boy for the longest.
Heck Boy?
Yeah.
If you have to refer to him as Heck Boy, it's so odd
Why
that
did
you
I
get to go see the movie.
I don't know.
That is an odd thing.
But I love those movies, and the first one is good, and we'll get to that more when 2004 rolls around. But the second one, I really like a lot of the things in it, and I really dislike a lot of the things in it. Abe was phenomenal. I love him in that.
Right.
Seth MacFarlane is the random robot steam guy, who I always forget.
Oh,
he's
okay,
in it,
yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
The only thing I didn't care for is like they really sidelined Selma Blair's character, like the fire chick.
Right.
They really sidelined her to do the whole weird pregnancy story, which didn't seem necessary to me.
So many movies do that, eh? They're like, you're gonna be pregnant. We don't know what to do with you. So pregnancy.
Yeah, and like it didn't really add anything to it.
Yeah.
But the addition of all the weird creatures was phenomenal.
It was.
Like,
I agree. The ending was pretty cool too, I think.
Yeah, one.
If I remember correctly, I actually liked the second one better than the first Hellboy, because I wasn't too like knowledged up on Hellboy, and the first one was like so for me. But I quite enjoyed the second one.
I like the first one because it's so small and self-contained, and I feel like it was a good beginning. I think it was a good start, and I think the second one went in the logical direction and expanded that world. Like, the opening with the Tooth Fairies was amazing. That was terrifying and awesome. And then the like, again, meeting all the weird different fiction, like fantasy characters in that hidden world in the back. Like, one of my favorite lines is I think I might have mentioned this in a podcast. Like, it was I'm not a baby, I'm a tumor line, where it's like they're questioning this gigantic creature that has like a thing growing out of it that you think is a baby, and like at one point they're like, nice baby, and it's like, I'm not a baby, I'm a tumor.
I don't remember that part,
man. Like, it's such a weird, bizarre movie, but it's so well done.
Interesting.
And I enjoyed it. Like, the actions were fun. The third act was kind of weird. but the first two were awesome, and I don't know. It's something that I really enjoyed, and I still enjoy. I just haven't watched them in quite some time.
Yeah, I think that was a fun film. Did you ever see the new Hellboy?
No, I haven't got around to it. I've heard
Mixed things at the very least. Yeah.
Either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah, I never saw it. I was just wondering if you did.
The trailer kind of put me off on it because it didn't feel like the Hellboy I was familiar with.
Yeah.
But it's a different interpretation, right?
For sure. Different tone and whatnot. Ron Perlman was great too. Like he's
the whole cast
was
is
money.
Really, really good. Yeah. Like that's the thing, casting wasn't a problem with it. Like it's a fun movie. It just I think it gets a lot of flack for not being like amazing, but I think not every movie has to be amazing.
No, I think people forget that. Like a lot of people think like every movie has to be the best movie ever or it's complete trash. And it's like, well, that just isn't true. Like there's a lot in between room for films to sit.
Brings me to my next two films, but I'll talk one after the other. Another one on my list was Chronicles of Narnia: Prince Caspian. And I love the Narnia franchise in general.
Never saw it. Never saw that one.
I liked it. I thought it was a decent follow-up to Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but this is where they started definitely, like, adding way more to what happened in the books than what actually happened. But, like, Prince Caspian and Voyage of the Dawn Treader are the shortest books.
Okay.
So a lot of times that they're paired up, like, even in the BBC movies, they paired those two stories together in order to, like, make it one movie.
Right.
And, like... And it was fun. I didn't hate what they did with it. I thought it was interesting that they made the Telmarines, I think is what they are. Yeah, like Prince Caspian's people, they made them like Spaniard pirates that got lost in Narnia. I thought that was an interesting take on it. I know growing up I didn't care for it because I didn't understand the concept. I just thought they were talking with weird different accents. I'm like, but they should all be British. This doesn't make sense because they're all British in all these other adaptations like, I heard.
What's going on?
I didn't get it, but then as I got older and reflected on it, I'm like, that's actually really smart world building. That's really cool. And like, I feel like the world building was really well. I think it was really weird that they forced a romance between Susan and Caspian. It was a really bizarre thing to add in. Especially in Narnia, where it's not really a thing that they really ever do. It didn't add anything. But I felt it was a decent follow-up. You could tell it was toned down in violence a lot. Like, there was not nearly as much blood or scary things that there were in the first one.
Right.
Which, like, it was toned down. It's like they kind of... Because the first one was very much trying to ride on the train of, like, hey, Lord of the Rings was huge, and we can be this franchise. And, like, so the first one had a very specific tone, very similar to Lord of the Rings. And the second one definitely became more...
Like Harry Potter?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'd say Disney-fied, but I don't want to say Disney. Like, I don't want to say Disney-fied.
Yeah.
But, like, it was very much, like... It was definitely more family-friendly, which Narnia should be, but at the same time, don't shy away from the dark stuff, you know?
No, that's what makes everything interesting. I don't think I've seen any of those movies all the way through. If I did, it was the first one. But if I did, again, it was a very, very long time ago.
And the first one is the best. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the best out of those three. But it always is. Like, and I will plan to remake them at some point. If they ever give me the rights to do it, I will make all 7 of them in order and make them good. So if you're ever listening to this, which I doubt they are, whoever owns the rights to Narnia, let me at it. I'll do it.
Yes, trust me, I'm super legit. I'm a voice on YouTube, but you know, you should just let me have the movies. That'd be cool.
Growing up, man, they were like my favorite book series. They were like my favorite movie series. Like anything Narnia, I ate up. I used to be subscribed to like their webpage, like.
Oh, you just really dug it,
Narnia,
yeah?
Oh yeah, like there is a point I probably still could just tell you beat for beat. Not word for word. There was a point where I could tell you word for word everything from book 1 to 7.
Bro.
Not anymore. Now it's like I could tell you beat for beat. Like if you asked me to write down a synopsis of every single movie or every single book, I could probably do it.
Yeah.
For the most part. because there's a couple of them I'm still very fuzzy on and I want to revisit. But like,
Just like how I'm fuzzy on all my favorite movies. I'm like, oh yeah, I like this one from way back. I don't remember what happened, but it was good.
Well, it's mainly like it's the obscure ones like Horse and His Boy, and honestly, actually, Horse and His Boy and Last Battle are the two that I'm the most fuzzy on. But otherwise, like Magician's Nephew, Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and Silver Chair.
It's so strange to me because like while I haven't seen them or had a lot of interest in them, like what I hear people talk about them, or like the few people who like really like enjoy, not like the necessarily the films, but like the books and stuff. It's like that does really have all the groundwork to be a great fantasy series of films. It's just it seems they haven't quite cracked the code on it yet, though.
The problem is the most popular one, and so the books were released are in not the right chronological order. The books were released 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 7. Of course
they were.
Or 3, 1, 7. Yeah. It was 2, 4, 6.
Where's
2, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, okay.
2, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, or 3, 1, 7. So a lot of times when they tried making them, that's always been the order that they try and make them in. And it's like, no, guys, you should just do it from book 1 to the end. Just do
and
that.
Go.
Just commit. But they're like, but the most popular story is Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it's like, cool. Then you don't need to sell it. You just say, hey, Narnia, Magician's Nephew. And people be like, Narnia? I know Narnia. What could this be? It's a new thing? Great.
Yeah, which one's Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Number 2.
Oh.
But that's the first movie that gets released all the time.
Yeah.
Huh. And it's good. It's understandable. It's the best. Out of them all, it is the strongest story. I will never argue that. It has a good beginning, middle, and end. It has a good arc for all the characters. Like, it's...
Jeez, well, how awesome is that? Like, yeah, out of my series of 7 books, or whatever, how many books are there? 7, you said?
7, yeah.
Out of my series of 7 books, book number 2 is the best. After that, it's all downhill. It's like, that kind of sucks.
Well, it's like, book number 2 is the best. The rest are all really good. Book number 2 is the best, but technically it was also... Technically, it was also the first book he wrote. It's weird, because I don't think he ever planned to make it a series, necessarily.
Oh.
But then it just snowballed, right? And, like, again, it's a very important series to me. So it's, anytime those movies come out, I just get excited for it, and definitely got excited back in the day. Like, I was like, ooh, can't wait for more Narnia. This is gonna be amazing.
Ooh. Ooh.
And I enjoyed it. Like, as I've gotten older, I don't quite enjoy it as much, but I definitely enjoyed it as a kid. Kid being, like, what, a relative term? Because I think when this came out, I was 16 or 17, I guess.
Yeah.
But, no, it was a good time. Surprisingly, Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is on my list.
That almost made my list, too.
And...
That was fun. I didn't mind as much as most people did. But
a lot of people hate it. I think unjustly, because at the end of the day, it's not the most far-fetched Indiana Jones movie, and everyone complains about that. They're like, it's nothing like Indiana Jones, and it's like, there's some bad CG in it, I'll admit that. Mutt's character didn't make any sense at all.
She was pretty useless most of the time.
But the idea of aliens existing, or interdimensional beings existing in the Indie universe is not that far-fetched. Not in the slightest. Not with the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, and, you know, people's hearts getting ripped out of their chests. Like, that's... Aliens is the next step over. Like, it's not really that shocking.
They're neighbors, if anything.
The problem is, and I've had this rant for a while, the thing that would have made that movie stronger is if the alien motif never went away. Because it opens up Area 51, you see the hand of an alien. Cool, this is gonna be aliens. And then for about 2/3 of the movie, they're talking about the Mayans, and they're talking about
other things,
the Crystal Skulls, and they don't really mention aliens ever again. And then at the end, out of nowhere... They're
like, reminder, aliens.
And they should have had Mutt be more of, like, whether he was dressed the same or not, more of a nerd kind of character where he's, like, consistently being like, yeah, and then this is aliens. And the entire time... Indy's like, no, aliens don't exist. You're full of hooey. And that could have been like the whole movie. That's 90% of the other movies. They're like, hey, the Holy Grail exists. And he's like, yeah, right. My dad went crazy looking for that. It doesn't exist. Oh, the Ark of the Covenant, and it's mystical. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say. Like,
Pretty much, right?
I'm looking for these stones because they're worth money, but they don't have any mystical power. Yeah, right. Do the same thing with the aliens. Like, literally, you just do that where it's like, yeah, no, and they're aliens. They built the pyramids. It's crazy. And he's like, yeah, right. It is crazy because it's full of baloney.
Yeah. No, you make a valid point there.
So you have that. And then at the end, you can have him both be right and wrong, where it's like, there's that moment where they're like, oh, it's aliens. And then John Hurt gets his mind back and he's like, no, it's interdimensional beings. And like, okay, cool. Then you can correct him and be like, oh, so they're not actually aliens. I was technically right. Haha. But I was also wrong because holy crap.
Because aliens.
And like, and at the end of the day, I think it was a fun film. It still had the spirit of indie. It just was not as good as some of the other ones. I think to me, it's slightly below Temple of Doom, but it's not the worst piece of Indiana Jones media I've ever seen.
No, and I don't think it, again, I don't think it deserves as much like hate as it gets.
Oh yeah.
Like the majority of it, like, because I went on an Indiana spree for like, I don't know, a while back. Probably, I can't remember if we were doing this podcast or not at the time, or if it was just before that. Because I think they were all on Netflix or something like that, or I can't remember.
I think that's right, yeah.
And because I hadn't seen them for like ages, and I went on a spree, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull doesn't really stand out like apart from it. Like it still feels like Indiana Jones. Like it still kind of has all the same type of trademark things. He's just old, and Shia LaBeouf is hanging out with him. And again, yeah, I think you make a good point. Like I think if they just would have kept that, like sold the idea of aliens instead of just like throwing them at people at the very end, right? Like
well,
yeah,
again,
like
they
earn the
lead
alien.
with it.
Yeah. Earn the alien.
It's like they forgot the rule of threes. They didn't mention it 3 times. They mentioned it at the beginning and then at the end.
That
and
was
in the
it.
middle is just like, yeah, we need to find these different ruins, and we look at crystal skulls with an elongated head, but we don't explain what it is, and then this weird thing with like psychic powers, but they don't explain why it's psychic powers.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
it was bizarre, but it was like still indie, and it was still fun.
Yeah, I don't
And
disagree.
I think a lot of people just like hate on it for no reason in particular.
Yeah,
just
a lot
other
of
than,
people
like,
just like things to hate on too.
it's not my Indiana Jones, but no one can replace Harrison Ford. But he can't be too old because then it just ruins it.
Well, they're still working on that 5th one.
I want Indiana Jones, but I don't want Indiana Jones. But it should be this way, but it shouldn't be that way. And it's
people coming in with their own expectations and their own ideas of what something should be.
Honestly, I remember in theaters. I remember I saw it because I saw it in West Ed, and I loved it when I saw it in theaters. I absolutely loved it. And then upon reflection, I kind of was like, oh, okay, there are problems with this movie. Oh, okay, this is how they could have made it better. But first go through, I left the theater happy. I was like, yeah, it's Indiana Jones. I don't care. He got to punch people. He got that great sound effect of whoosh.
And like, you know, we've said that for multiple movies. Like, no movie's perfect. Like, every movie has flaws. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. Not every
100%.
film has to be like the best movie ever. There's lots of room
You can enjoy
in between.
bad movies.
Yeah, dude, I enjoy bad movies on the regular.
Exactly.
Sometimes they're so bad they're funny. You know what I mean? Like these are really like
as long as you can admit they're bad, that's the important part. But otherwise, you can still enjoy them.
Meet the Spartans was terrible. I did not enjoy it. It was bad to the point of unenjoyable. But
that one's so bad that it's bad.
Exactly. And there are some that are bad, but are like just really funny. Yeah, because they're so bad you can laugh at them. It's like because you can tell the creators are taking it seriously for the most part, but it's not coming across well, you know.
But no, it's another one I really enjoyed. Next on my list, because I figure I should keep going. We've just reached the halfway point.
Okay.
I only have 8 movies because we killed off the rest of them when we talked about yours.
We killed them off.
Get Smart. I feel like that's one that a lot of people forget about. But I really, really enjoyed it. Steve Carell, Anne feel like a lot of people just
Oh,
either
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
I saw that on there.
Yeah, because
I
it was like
did see it. Wasn't the biggest fan of it. It didn't work for me
I
too well, I don't think.
I enjoyed it, but I also my parents raised me on watching the old TV show that it was based off of.
Oh.
So I had a connection to it before, and it's actually funny because like the character of Maxwell Smart actually heavily inspired Inspector Gadget.
Right.
And I grew up on Inspector Gadget too. But Get Smart I thought was really good, especially as a fan of the old show. He really captured the same essence of that original character while bringing some new things to it, and like Steve Carell was the perfect replacement for Maxwell Smart. Like, and like the chemistry in it was really good. I like the acting in it. I think it's hilarious. It's over the top acting, but it works really well. The Rock as the villain was phenomenal.
Geez, I really don't remember much about this film. Maybe I should rewatch it.
I think you should give it a chance. I think as a Steve Carell fan, you'd probably enjoy it. But like overall, like it was fun. And it, again, as a fan of the original show, like I think it was a very solid spiritual continuing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish there was more. I wish that they would have done a sequel to it, but I don't think it did that well. But
No,
I liked it.
Like, yeah, I remember when I watched it, I didn't find it like overly entertaining, or I thought it could be better. I guess maybe.
Well,
Yeah, when I think about that film, I just
audiences-
think about like the only emotion I'm left with is just kind of like meh, like it was okay, but I'd definitely be willing to give it a re look because I don't even remember The Rock being the villain at all. At all.
Well, because the main focus of the main villain was Terrence Stamp. He was the main focus villain. But then you found out The Rock was, sorry for spoilers probably, but The Rock is kind of the behind-the-scenes villain. Right? Like, he's constantly putting down Max and being like, you're nothing, you're not a spy, you're a terrible person, blah. And you find out that he's actually, like, one of the baddies. And again, a lot of people don't like the direction that it went. I still thought it was fun. And I think it really captured and updated the spirit of what that show was.
Yeah.
And like again, I think if they would have got sequels it would have been fun to see, but alas we did not get it. We just got a Patrick Warburton cameo at the end.
Oh, as long as you had fun with it.
Oh yeah, and like again, it's one that I like to revisit on occasion. It's like it's a more serious Austin Powers because it's not nearly as goofy as Austin Powers, but it has the same kind of vibes to it.
Right.
Where it's just like it's a spy comedy. I'm trying to think of what else to compare it to. Yeah, take Austin Powers and give it the tone of Charlie's Angels, and there you go. Get Smart.
Right.
But no, it's another one that again I think that one I really like because it connects me to my family. Next on my list would be WALL-E. Can't believe you didn't talk about WALL-E.
Almost made my list. Haven't seen it all the way through, to be honest. I have
just rewatched
seen
it.
bits and pieces of it. I have not watched it from beginning to end, so I didn't think I should put it on my list.
That is fair.
Just because
I just
haven't
rewatched
seen
it.
it fully.
Goodness, it was a couple months ago. I rewatched it, maybe over the break,
Mhm.
possibly. And honestly, man, like it holds up. It's probably one of the better Pixar movies out there. Not a lot of dialogue, but it still works really well. Like sound design is phenomenal, story is really good. Like it's just it's tops. Like it's you should try and rewatch it.
So
Matt should go for a nap.
Sorry,
and
I'm
try
yawning.
and rewatch
Sorry, I'm
it.
yawning. Yeah, I might. Yeah, I think my wife likes it. She enjoys WALL-E. She
It's
was
good.
watching
It's
it not too long ago either, but again, only just popped in for like bits and pieces. I haven't
Like,
seen it from
WALL-E,
beginning
yeah,
to
get me
end.
outta here.
You know.
Yeah. But no, it's fun. It's a good one, and I think a lot of people really like it. I think it did get the recognition it deserves. I think, including myself, a lot of people just forget it exists.
Mm.
And you see WALL-E stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, that movie. It's
Oh
so
yeah,
good.
WALL-E.
Oh yeah. But those are like my big budget picks. Because all those were like pretty big Hollywood blockbusters.
Right.
The next one is still kind of a Hollywood block, but like it won Oscars. Or nominated for Oscars, I don't remember. But Milk. And did you
I
ever
saw
see
that on there, and it sounds familiar, but I I don't think
Milk
I saw it.
is it's about the first openly gay politician, Harvey Milk, who did a bunch of political activism for the gay community.
Oh, okay.
And I actually didn't see it till college. We did a movie night with the film school, the film class, paired up with the historical society as well as the LGBTQ plus group, and we picked a movie that was a historical gay movie. So I combined us all together, and we did a screening of it. And honestly, it was
That's
really,
smart.
really well done. Like it was, like, it's not a happy story by any stretch of the imagination. Like it doesn't end happy.
Oh, so don't go in with
But
looking for the feel goods.
no, but it is. But it's really inspirational. Like it's a really, really good movie that a lot more people should watch.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it, but like it's honestly like out of my list, like it's in the top 3 because that's how good it is. And I haven't rewatched it. I think I've rewatched it once since, but that is how good it is. Like it's resonated with me a bunch. Where I look at this list and I'm like, yeah, that's a top movie.
No, I hear
It's
that.
not like
I hear that.
not my favorite, but it definitely is top. Have you heard of In Bruges before?
Nope.
So In Bruges is like a smaller scale black comedy with Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, and Ray Fiennes.
Okay.
And basically,
Great actors.
Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell are Irish hitmen
Okay.
who get sent to a town after Colin Farrell accidentally kills a kid. Like he completely messes up and he goes and accidentally kills a kid, and they get sent to this town. And then Brendan Gleeson is then told he has to kill Colin Farrell. And it's not, again, it's not a happy movie, but it is hilarious. It is super funny. And the dialogue is really funny, and the banter is really funny. But it's really dark. It's really, really dark. But I'd highly recommend it. It's another one of those. All 3 of these, the 3 top films of mine are all ones that I saw in college. I didn't see it when they came out in 2008, but I saw it in college.
Okay.
And they all hit me in different ways. And In Bruges was one that just, like, I don't know why it sticks with me, and I've only seen it a couple times since, but, like, it's one of those ones that anytime it pops up or someone mentions it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that movie, it's so good. It's actually, like, it's not a comparison because they're very different films, but it's the same thing with, like, the movie. Have you seen American History X?
No.
It's a phenomenal movie. When we get to whatever year it came out,
I
talk
see
about that
so
one.
many no movies.
But,
So
like,
many no movies.
that's another one of those movies that, like, I don't watch very often.
Right.
But anytime I have a chance to recommend it to somebody, I recommend it to someone because it is phenomenal. Same thing with In Bruges. It is very, very crass because it's a British film, but it's phenomenal. Great acting, great story. Again, really dark, really funny. I don't have much more to say on it. I need to rewatch it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my list, except for
It's like, I'm pretty sure you
film.
have one more. Unless I can't count to 3, which is also very possible.
The final movie on my list is the one that I mentioned last week. And it is what I've come to realize is probably the most important movie to me. And that movie is called Dear Zachary. And the premise of the movie is it's a documentary. It's a true to life documentary.
Okay.
The filmmaker's best friend is murdered. And like their childhood best friends, they grew up together. And when he found out about this, he decided that he was going to set out to make a movie, one last movie with his childhood best friend. All about his childhood best friend, learning new things about him that he didn't know. Like it's an emotional roller coaster, and it's actually anytime I talk about it, I start to tear up and I start to crack a bit because it is not an easy watch in the slightest. But you will feel every emotion. You'll feel happy. You'll feel sad. You'll feel angry because what happens is as you are following the story along, you find out that the filmmaker's friend who died is going to have a son. The mother is the main suspect and the person who killed him. So then what this guy does is he sets out...
Okay.
It's rough. The filmmaker then changes the original message of the movie about just making a movie with his one last movie with his friend to making a movie for his best friend's unborn child, so he could know who his father was. And it's also about the custody battle between Zachary, who's the kid.
Yeah.
It's about the custody battle between Zachary's grandparents, so the guy who was killed's parents.
Yeah.
And the mom. So it's all about that.
Okay, wait.
And
the mom murdered him, though, right?
Yep.
So how was their custody battle? It's like you murdered a person.
No, but
You're out.
that's part of the anger of it. That's where you will feel angry because
wow.
And it takes place in both Canada and the States.
And she for sure murdered him.
That's where most of the
was
evidence...
she convicted or just the evidence?
She didn't make it to conviction because they kept kind of putting off the trial, delaying things.
She's white, isn't she?
Yep.
America.
And they didn't see... No, this was Canada, dude.
Oh,
this
damn
is the
it.
Canadian judicial system that failed.
Oh, God.
Um,
Damn it, Canada. Come on. Canada.
How much do you want me to spoil this movie for you?
Well, I don't know. I might not watch it
to...
because it sounds depressing, to be honest.
It
sounds great. It sounds like a real, great piece of film, but, damn, it might be a bit heavy. It's
depressing, but it is incredibly heavy. Dude, I watched it last night and I cried, pretty well throughout the movie. It is rough. Again, how much do you want me to tell you about it? Because I'm good telling you all about it. I'm good.
You can talk some more, yeah.
So basically, what happens is they're doing this custody battle. She gets released on bail because she's not deemed as a threat to anyone else, because even if she did commit the murder, it was a targeted murder. It wasn't a specific crime against the public. It was just one person. Which that's messed up, but that was Canada's law at the time.
Oh, we're just winning all.
This is also back. All this happened back in 2001, 2002.
Doesn't make me feel any better, but okay.
She does get arrested for a bit. She's in jail for a little bit. I don't know if she was convicted specifically of the murder. I feel like she was, and then the grandparents got custody for a while, and it's really happy.
And then it becomes unhappy again.
She gets released, and she disappears with the kid.
Oh.
And it turns into a murder-suicide. And, yeah.
Well, you didn't need to tell me that part. God,
I did.
You
told me to tell you everything, man. It is rough. And then the film turns again. Because again, you remember this guy's goal was to make a movie for this kid. The movie then turned into a reminder to the parents that they still have children, because he was the one who was killed was his only that was their only biological child, And so when they lost him, they thought they lost everything. And then they found out about Zachary, so they're like, okay, we haven't lost everything. And then they lost Zachary, and they're like, okay, we've lost everything. And this then turns into a very emotional message to the parents, to the grandparents, basically like, no, you guys are amazing people. You guys are amazing human beings, and we all love you, and we want you to stay alive and stay around as long as you can. And actually, the happy note, the happiness of it at the end, the two of them became activists, and actually have made changes to Canadian laws surrounding this stuff. They made an active change. They actually helped prevent this from happening in the future. I actually want to say it's like called the Zachary Law or something like that, where basically if someone is suspected of being convicted of murder, they don't get released on bail.
Well, yeah, that should be a no-brainer. Right?
Also, laws around protection of child custody and all that kind of stuff too. If you're suspected of murder, maybe you shouldn't be in charge of a child. Like
it's just the most obvious thing.
You think it is, but again, look how Canada is. We're too laid back sometimes on things. And it's terrible that two tragedies had to happen for this to happen.
I haven't even seen this movie, and
it will emotionally destroy you.
You've already emotionally destroyed me. Like, you just telling me that stuff makes me so mad. And
you will feel, if you watch this movie, you will feel happy, you will feel sad, and you will feel angry.
I don't want to watch it.
It's one.
I'm not going to lie. Like, you just telling me, and I haven't even watched the film, you just telling me about it just makes me feel so much. It's like just overwhelming. Like, I can't even imagine what that family went through. And then, like, thinking like the legal system was like, oh yeah, we just set everything up so all this could happen, makes me want to like go in there at the bat and just.
But you don't have to, because they managed to change things.
Yes, but they didn't change it in time.
Oh, I know, and that's the main
point. I mean, it helps other people, but what about Zachary, man? What about Zachary? And I haven't even watched the film.
No, and it messes with you. Like, it's...
As a parent, I don't think I could watch that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you just tell me about that, like, I'm all jittery right now, man. Like, I'm like, let me at him. Like, I just feel...
But this is also why I consider this film to be the most important movie to me. And it's real. It's a real movie. It's a true... It's the nice thing about it too. Not nice as in like the subject matter, but like the way that the story is told, the way that the guy handles the documentary. Most of the time with documentaries, there's manipulation. You're trying to convince people to feel a certain way, to be a certain way. But the way he handles the storytelling and the way he handles this movie is in a way that basically, instead of manipulation, it's just understanding. He makes you understand what is being felt at any given time. And it's expert storytelling, and you can tell this movie meant so much to him. You can tell it was an important film. You can tell that this is a movie that needs to exist, and people do need to see it. But it's not a light watch in the slightest. But it is an important movie.
How could they just give custody to the mom? Like, how like,
she manipulated people, and again, it's a broken system, and a lot of times...
That's not a broken system, man. That's not a broken system. That's no system. I'm sorry, but if your system can't even prevent that, there's no system there. Like,
and that's where, again, luckily, the system, from what I understand, has been fixed to prevent that from happening.
It just makes me angry that that was there in the first place. That was such a flaw in the system because it's such a no-brainer.
And so
Like,
recently,
you're
too.
accused of murder, you should not be around children. That is a no-brainer. You should not have custody of children. That's a no-brainer. You should not get out of jail on bail. That's a no-brainer. Like, I can't believe those kind of loopholes and those kind of things existed. And not even that long ago. Like, if you were talking, like, if this was, like, back in, like, the 70s or something, I'd be like, oh, okay,
20 years
whatever.
ago, man.
But early 2000s, come on. Come on, guys.
Yep.
Come on. We've been a country, we've been a society, we've had so many cases and so many circumstances. Like, I can't.
Like, no, like basically how you were reacting is the exact right way that you should be reacting.
I don't think I'm going to watch this movie, Ethan. I'm not going to lie. Because literally you just telling me about it makes me feel so many things. And I just literally, like right now, I hate you for it. I hate you for it right now. I'm like, you son of a bitch. It's 1:30 in the morning my time. And you're dropping this on me like this? Oh my God.
Matt,
it has nothing to do with my age, man. It just says, as a father, it hits different, right? Like,
100%.
As when you have kids, it hits different. Because, like, if that was,
you can't.
If that was not even necessary, if that was like my kids in that situation or my grandchildren, it's like, holy smokes, that chick would not go anywhere with those children, ever.
And honestly, they
like,
get that.
I would have gone to jail first before she got to like.
So, fun fact, that's actually a part of the documentary, is literally the grandparents being, like, the grandpa being like, he thought about it. He's like, how can I make sure that she doesn't have this kid? How can I make sure that this, like, there's the amount of raw emotion and the amount of raw rage and sadness that is in this film from the grandparents and from absolutely everybody. It is. Again, it's one that, and I don't expect people to watch. It's one that I don't want to just tell people to watch, and that's also why, like, I don't want to be like, "Oh, Matt, go watch this movie."
It's a great time.
How much more mad would you have been if I wouldn't have told you what happened, and I would have just said, "Hey, Matt, you should go and watch this film."
Especially if you would have said it's a good time, I would have.
I would never
shot you. Would have been like, "What are you doing?"
I'd never lead with a good time, but I would tell you it makes you feel all the things. This is a movie that specifically for me, I need to sit down and watch with people. I need to be there physically to show them this movie. I can't just, like, lend it out and say,
not
hey,
just
go
like,
watch
hey,
this
go
movie.
check this out film. Yeah.
This is I need to be there because I signed you up for this, and you need to, like, know that if you are feeling things during this movie, you're not alone.
Ah, man. That was like another film that I watched, like, well, I guess it was a while ago. It was like that cabin one. That was like the only probably like religious-based film that I thought was ever quite good. Most of them are quite terrible. You know which one I'm talking about? I think it was called The Cabin.
The Shack?
Oh, The Shack. That was it. Yeah.
Well, like, I showed Prosser Dear Zachary last night, and he texts me halfway through the day being like, dude, the more I think about it, the more mad I am that this was even a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, exactly.
And that's
even a thing. That's ridiculous.
And that's the harsh reality of it. Like, that's again why it's like, I stand by it, man. This is the most important movie to me. This is one I talk about frequently. If anyone ever asks me about movies or documentaries, I will bring this one up on a regular basis because it's an important story. It's an important thing to be aware of. And it is one of the most well-crafted movies I've ever seen. And it's completely independent. It's just this one guy with a camera. He narrated it. He shot it. He directed it. He composed it. He edited it. He did everything. And it is incredibly powerful. And incredibly frustrating.
I guess that's what you get when you go to film school, eh? They're just like, here, watch all this stuff that you would probably normally not watch.
They didn't even show me this one in film school. They showed my friends at a camp, and my friends at film school showed me.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
But it's one that like, it was one that I'd watched, and I immediately fell in love with, but I couldn't find it anywhere. And I was looking at buying it digitally finally. But then I found out you could buy DVDs from their website. And all the proceeds from the DVDs go towards different charities and funds that were started in the name of Zachary and his father.
That makes me so mad. That is such.
I'm sorry. It's man, it's my top film of 2008. I couldn't not talk about it. I absolutely could not. I've ruined your night, haven't I?
No, just my week.
Well, as long as that's not your night, that's fine then.
Just the whole week. Oh man, no, here's the thing, like it's so frustrating to see so many flaws in the legal system, in our legal system, and the legal system of the states that let people get away with such ridiculous things.
Well, unfortunately,
it's frustrating. Like, it's just
the legal systems are more about protecting the criminals than they are about protecting the victims. That's the unfortunate reality of it. And that's where, again, I'm happy that they managed to turn it into something positive, but it rips me apart that it had to happen, that they had to, like, this had to happen in order for a positive change to happen.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, like, I am sorry that I ruined your week, but...
Well, I hope all the people involved who put that through feel like big pieces of crap for the rest of their life.
Oh, they all refuse to be a part of the documentary.
Yeah,
there's actually a section.
But I hope they feel like pieces of crap for the rest of their life, though.
It's like her psychiatrist,
whoever made those calls, it's like, I hope you feel like crap.
Her psychiatrist who
they probably do. I shouldn't hope.
Bail,
I shouldn't say that.
Her psychiatrist that helped her post bail. Actually, he completely got like removed from being a therapist.
Yeah, it's like, clearly you're not doing a good job, bro.
Yeah.
You don't know when people are dangerous or not.
A bunch of the people who did allow it to happen either stepped down or were forced to step down, were put under investigation. Like a lot changed because of it. But a lot shouldn't have had to have changed.
Yeah.
Like, it should not have been a thing in the first place. But again, man, like, watch, like, the thing to know too is when you do watch it, you do feel highs. There are happy moments in it too. Just the lows are really freaking hard.
Well, now that I know the ending, how am I ever gonna... I don't know if I'll even feel happy.
But that's also why, like, again, man, I couldn't just be like, oh yeah, and it has emotional things, and then just shown it to you. You would have hated me. You would have just been so mad at me. Like, man, like, it gets really dark and heavy, and then, like, that would have happened, and you would have been like, Ethan, why did you tell me to watch this movie? And again,
I only make you watch Paranormal Activity, and you drop this on me, man.
It's revenge. It is. If I am ever in town and you want to give it a shot, I will watch it with you. That is my offer.
Well,
but it's again, like, it's kind of, I'm sorry, it's kind of like an unfair top pick for.
That is unfair. Like, you just like put huge, like, just shadow over every other movie we've talked about. Not even just your episode, but last week's episode. Now I'm like, why did you let me talk so long about Forgetting Sarah Marshall? You son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like now everything feels so inconsequential. And that's the truth of it, right? Like as much as we love movies and much as we talk about them, they are so inconsequential when it comes to like the real shit that happens in life, right? Like
and
when
again,
we
man,
talk about
that's
real
where
importance, like we talk about how people get so mad at each other over slight differences or disagreements. And it's like,
my
but that
Star
doesn't
Wars,
matter in the grand scheme of life. And people forget that, man. But you reminded us today that even though we love movies, there are bigger things. And movies can be a way to communicate those bigger things too. That's the beautiful pieces. That's the beautiful thing about film, about art, about stories.
and that's why, hands down, Dear Zachary is my top film of 2008. And what it's in my top 10 of all time. Like, that's...
Wow.
So...
Sorry
to kill your mood,
can't
man.
compete with that.
Yep.
It's not. It's not killing mood. You're making it like you're just making it like it's just an important point, right? It's just.
Well, it's remembering that film is an important thing for more than just entertainment.
Yeah.
Right. It can tell the real stories as well as the fun ones, the silly ones.
100%.
It can tell the stories that matter. And that need to be told. And the cool thing with it too, though, and I pointed this out to Cross when we watched it, the film isn't what generated the change in legislation and all that kind of stuff. Zachary's grandparents are what generated change, and this movie was kind of an after product that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But you actually start seeing the change. They show a bit of the impact at the end of the film. Because and they've done little follow-ups to it as well. They've done a little short documentary follow-up. Like,
that makes me so upset. People are that.
On to the question of the day, Matt.
Let's see. So, what's your favorite depressing movie that you watched recently?
Oh, Dear Zachary, what are the odds?
Wow, what a coincidence. Okay, let me just collect myself here for a sec.
It is also a film that if I know I need to cry and feel emotion, I will watch it.
That's your go-to, eh?
It's one that automatically, if I need to feel something, if I feel like something is off, then I watch it. Yeah. And it helps kind of recalibrate me. And like, again, this time I didn't need to. I was feeling fine. And even within the first 10 minutes, I was already crying because I know what happens.
Yeah.
So anytime they talk about anything, I'm just like, well, it hits differently too for me, a couple different ways. Like, it hits differently in different points. And one of the big ones too is like just the filmmaker's connection with his childhood best friend and with his friend. The idea of making one last movie with your friend that you're never gonna get to see again, that you're never gonna do this with again, like that.
The fact that it gets worse from that is ridiculous. Like that sucks. That sucks.
Right?
Yeah.
And like that's like it's masterfully told though. And again, like you can also see, like, looking at the director's IMDb, you can see that this film and this event specifically kind of derailed his career a little bit, but at the end of the day, was more important than anything that his career could have been.
Why did it derail his career?
He put all his energy and focus into this. He was directing a few feature films. He was kind of working his way up, and then this happened, and
I get what you're saying.
His focus entirely was put into this, and since then he's directed like 5 episodes of The Blacklist. Like he's done things. But his main focus was this, and I think that is commendable. I think that is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I think the him choosing to do that is phenomenal. Like, it's... Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Everyone's gonna, like, listen to this episode and be like, what happened to you guys?
Like,
Why
it just fell off
sad?
a cliff, eh? Like... Just like this episode's been brought to you by falling off cliffs.
Sorry, Matt. I was really sad last night, and I had to make you feel how I was feeling tonight.
Oh, that seems fair. Yeah. No, I hear that. Well, I'll appreciate my family, and I'll try not to let my wife. I'll try not to like give her any reasons to murk me. You know, I was honestly scared of my wife for a little bit after I watched Gone Girl. For some reason, I was like, damn, man, women are scary. That's always a good sign of a good film where they like make you scared of like everyday things. You're just like, I didn't think that was scary before. It is now.
Well, now I'm just scared of dating. Like that's horrifying.
Like,
Because like yeah, man. Like it's
you can find some really messed up people. Clearly, right? Like this is it's really messed up people. But it's like if you made a horror movie about a toaster, like no one ever thinks a toaster is scary until you saw a horror movie about a toaster. Then you're like, damn.
Depends, because I've seen a horror movie.
Now I can't eat toast.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a horror movie, but the movie Rubber.
Oh yeah, with Rubber? The tire. It's not really a horror
Yeah.
movie. It's just stupid. My brother watched it.
I enjoyed it for what it was, but like it's stupid. Like it's not. That's the point, though. The point is that it's stupid. But people are like, no, it's super intelligent because, and it's like, no. The point of the movie is that there's no reason for anything, and it's dumb. It's meant to be dumb.
All right.
So, question of the day and then bedtime.
Question of the day. You've made a couple of films, Ethan. What's your favorite movie making moment?
In my movies or in other people's movies?
Any movie you have made. What is your favorite movie making moment? Or been a part of making, I guess.
Well, making you depressed right now was really the highlight.
We are not making a movie. We're making a podcast. It does not count.
This is true.
It does not count. I mean, literally, like any of the films you've made from scratch or anything you've been a part of. Like, just what's your favorite, like, moment? Whether some that was funny, whether some that was serious, whether it was like, oh, light bulb, or, you know, some other impactful moment.
So this is a tough one. Because it's super, man, it's so hard. There's so much that goes into it. There's so much that's going on.
I know. That's why I thought it'd be a little bit insightful, too. For everyone listening. If you're still listening after all the rest of that. I gotta put timestamps probably in this episode. But to be honest, I might forget. So just keep listening.
Time.
Just keep listening.
The main thing that I try to do on every film set that I'm on is to actually take a time to remind everybody and to remind myself, hey guys, we're making a movie and that's really cool. And a lot of times people look at me like I'm crazy. They look at me like, of course we're making a movie. Why else would we be here? And it's like, but guys, we're making a movie and that's dope. And so like that's something that in general, that's making the movie is my favorite part of making a movie. It's my favorite movie making moment is just the fact that we're making a movie. Which is a cop-out answer. 100%.
That is super cop-out, yeah. My favorite part of being black is the black part.
There's a couple.
It's pretty good.
There's 2 stories that I can't tell.
Inappropriate or what?
Oh, just harsh language.
Oh.
But one of my favorite moments was we were shooting one of the horror scenes in Damned Rights, and one of the actresses had to scream and do like the horror scream, like it was the big one of the big like trailer moment kind of things. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I got this. Like I can scream. Like it's cool." And so we shoot the scene, and she does amazing. She nails it. It's phenomenal. And we're moving on to the next scene, to the next take. And Prosser's off in the background, changing some lights. And me and her and a couple people are talking, and she looks at me, and she's like, "See, I told you I was a screamer." And then Prosser, at that exact moment, by complete and total happenstance, was trying to change a light bulb, and it was too warm. So she's like, "See, I told you I was a screamer." And out of the background, we just hear, "Ah, damn, that's hot." And it's just, everyone just like lost it because we're like, what? And he's like, "Yeah, the light bulb. I just burnt myself. It's super warm." Just like, excuse me?
No, it's pretty good, man.
Like, that one is great. just oh man,
Ah,
honestly,
damn, that's hot. Like everyone's like, what?
it's
This light bulb,
what?
it's hot. Dude,
Um,
you save that in your memory, man. That's decent for some sort of comedy script. You can use that later for sure.
oh, it's that was a great moment. Like again, man, it's super difficult to pick. It's super difficult to pick them out because like a lot of times it is just problem solving, and when you get that moment of like, oh, we can do it this way, there's a moment where you have to shoot the actress running towards something, and we have to somehow get the camera steady with this. So we loaded Prosser in the back of my SUV with the hatch up, and we just drove slowly in front of her, and it was just a really smooth dolly shot because of that. We
Hmm.
didn't know how do we get that, like realizing that we would have to ADR the entire film was horrible but kind of awesome because there's a china cabinet and a wood
So
stove
before you
in
go
his
on,
parents'
explain
house.
what ADR is for anyone listening.
So with ADR, it's basically additional dialogue recording. People disagree about what the acronym stands for, but that's what I'm going with. And it's basically where you have to dub over specific lines. If there was an extra noise, if there was just something didn't work well with the sound, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So the problem was our entire film didn't have great sound. It had okay sound. It had pretty good sound, but the amount of audio we have to record to replace the dialogue that we had recorded live already,
Mm.
it just made more sense to re-record every single line and dub it over to make it consistent. And that's a method called the Italian method. And that's because a lot of Italian westerns, they'd shoot the film in Italy and then they would dub it over in English because they were trying to sell it to an English audience.
Right.
So they would actually shoot it without sound, period. And they would just build the sound from the ground up. Like all the sound effects, all the footsteps, all the like anything you see or hear.
Okay.
And that's what we actually had to do with this one. We had to anytime someone was walking on grass, we had to record us walking on fake grass. Same thing with hardwood, same thing. Anything, we had to record footsteps for 6 or 7 different characters.
Yeah.
And so that was us setting up a booth in our house in the middle of summer, which was a terrible idea. But we had set up this homemade soundproof booth. Or sound resistant booth, because we had some times where we couldn't record because people were chainsawing outside. I have no idea why, but like, okay.
You're just like, great timing, guys. This is really what we were hoping for today.
Cool. Oh yeah, and it would be us and like one of the actors inside the booth, and like it would be plus 30, 35 out, so it would be super hot inside the booth as well.
Yeah.
Recording countless sound effects, recording all the dialogue. I had to go through and actually, in order to do that, you need to type out the entire script.
Yeah.
So I had to sit down, watch my movie after we edited it, type out every single line, word for word, pronunciation for pronunciation, so that when people were dubbing it, they could get the lines exactly right. Like, it was one of the best learning experiences I ever had. But so much fun. I'm trying to think of like other stories and other like anecdotes, but like honestly, man, like it all blurs together and it's just so
I
much
bet.
like
Yeah.
at the end of the day though, it's so much fun. And any time, the most stressful days that I've had on set, and they've been my own sets, so I really don't have like I have no real professional grade to go off of. But any times that I have been on my sets and the most stressful days on my sets that I've been directing and all that kind of stuff and acting on are still better. The worst days on those sets are still better than the best days that I've had doing anything else.
No, I hear that, man.
Like, and it's a reminder that that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do.
That's what
I
you
wanna make
love,
movies.
man.
Like,
That's what you love. Yeah.
It's
a
my
bad
jam.
day, a
It's
bad
my-
day doing what you love is better than the best day not doing it at all.
Well, and it's exciting because it's not just like, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's just pointing a camera and just saying action. It's like, no, it's problem solving.
No.
It's not just storytelling. Storytelling is a big part of it, but that more to me comes out with the writing and like the editing and stuff. When you're on set, 90% of your job is problem solving. It's figuring out how to make this work. How are we going to translate this? We had this all planned in pre-production. Okay, that's now all garbage. How are we
how are we gonna make it work right now? Yeah.
And that's happened. Like, me and Browser have sat down and done countless shot lists and prepped. Got on set and went like, all right, now, how are we actually going to do this?
Great plan, except it's shit. Only one problem. It's total garbage. What are we doing right now?
The innovativeness of it. Like, it's just exciting. Like, the whole thing is exciting. And that's where it's like, I could probably come up with plenty of stories. I just can't when you ask me to think about it. Because it's like, oh man, what else was there?
There's so many.
Like, there were times we got actors to say different things to other actors to try and surprise them. Like, here, add this word here. Swear at them here. Get in their face here. Do this thing to surprise them there. And like, a lesson. Here is a lesson about what not to do, especially when dealing with stunts and a stunt coordinator. I wasn't doing a massive stunt. It was just falling backwards off a chair. That's still a stunt, though. There was a wall that I could have hit my head on and knocked myself unconscious. We had blankets underneath me to cushion the blow. It's still a stunt. A lot of people don't think that. Like, if you get slapped in the face, that's a stunt. You need a
Everything's a stunt.
Honestly, yeah. You trip and fall, that's a stunt. Yeah. You need a stunt coordinator. I have a numb patch on my back. I don't know why. It's been there for years. It's just this little patch of skin on my left shoulder blade, where it's just like it's asleep. It's just been asleep for years.
Okay.
And I went to the doctor. They're like, it doesn't look like it's a nerve damage. We have no idea what it is.
You're full of all sort of weird shit.
That's how the doctor described me. Is like, okay, how this is, it's normal, but it's weird.
But it's weird.
And I'm like, Doc, you just explained my entire medical history right there.
Yeah.
It's normal, but it's weird.
Yeah.
And that's my shoulder. Now, unlike normal people who would tell the stunt coordinator in advance, hey, I have this numb patch on my back. I decided to say this after I had fallen. So we did a take. I fell back. They were checking the footage back. And I just randomly say, I have a numb patch on my back because I just remembered it. And immediately the stunt coordinator, who's also like the actress with like working with me and stuff like that, was immediately like, what? Are you okay? How did you land? Like, what happened? I'm like, oh no, I've just always had that. And she's like,
I'm going to
do not ever say that. You. There's a time and a place to tell that fact. That is not right after you've done a stunt. That is a mess.
And with no context at all. I have a numb patch on my back.
Well, because I didn't say where. I wasn't like, oh, my shoulder feels numb. Oh, this thing has been ailing
well, you didn't
for a while.
You also didn't say like how long you had it, right? You just said I have a numb patch.
I fell on my back and then said I have a numb patch.
Oh my god, she's like only this guy could injure himself falling down on a chair. Damn it.
No, that's basically actually no. So a lot of these stories, they're all the same actress, but like that's just when you have a set of 9 people, there's very limited stories with limited people.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
I don't wear watches in real life. Like, as you can see, I do not wear watches. That is not part of my style.
Your style.
I wore a watch as that character that I was playing. And, and it was working. It was a working watch. It was always on. There was a battery. It was functioning. And I consistently would ask people what time it was. Because I'd forget I was wearing a watch. And at one point I asked, and she just looks at me and she's like, dude, you are literally wearing a watch right now.
And she's like, look your damn self.
And I'm like, it's this time. Okay, thank
you. You're like, can someone remind me I'm wearing a watch?
Yeah, man, like it's weird when you don't wear something for 26 years?
Yeah.
And then you finally have one. It's like, oh, yeah, I guess I should probably check this because I can't have my cell phone with me. Like, but no, like there's nothing I love more than just making movies. It is from writing it all the way to the end. It's stressful and you got to push. Like a lot of people are like, it's easy. It's a simple thing. You just go and point a camera and then you just do it. And it's like, no, because there's also a lot of artist hate, like self-hatred when you shoot something.
Yep.
And like, there's a very famous saying from several different filmmakers. I think Martin Scorsese is like the most famous for saying it. If you don't feel sick watching the first cut of your film, then you did something wrong.
Yeah.
And I'll have you know, I have felt sick watching every cut of every film
I've ever touched. Dude,
Even high school
anytime I
anything.
record things, I'm just like, I hate myself. Like, it's just fun. Like, yeah, there's a lot of like self-doubt, self-hate, like just, yeah.
You're your biggest critic.
You
always
are.
will be.
Always, yeah.
But at the end of the day, you also have to be your biggest fan.
Yeah, that's
Like
up in the air.
it's
Sometimes.
you need to be though. It's what's gonna help you get through it, man. Like
Yeah.
it's such a tricky thing to do. It's not easy, but it's worth it at the end. Like it's important. It's kind of what I've learned the last little while here is like, yeah, you know, maybe I'm not working as fast as I could be or working as the best I could, but I'm still doing things. I'm still accomplishing things. I'm still working on things.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think if you don't, and I'm a workaholic, I'll fully admit that. Like, I'm consistently working on things. I get yelled at on a regular basis that I need to relax, that I need to take breaks, that I need to not
Take it easy.
be working. But at the end of the day, I'm doing what I love. And when I'm doing what I love, when I'm writing, even when I'm working like for someone else, like I'm doing that editing job for someone else, I don't feel like it's work. It sometimes does, and it gets stressful sometimes, obviously. Especially when it's not your own film and you can't just make decisions. That's when it gets stressful.
Yeah.
And like this job I'm working on has been like the biggest form of imposter syndrome because like I kind of an imposter because like I'm doing digital effects work.
Right.
I've never done digital effects work before this job. I was hired on as a color correctionist. And the guy's like, so can you also do CG? And I'm like, I don't think so, but I can try. And I'm going strong doing it.
Fake it till you make it, I guess, eh?
Well, like the last thing I sent them, I'm like, okay, this is not great. It's not good work. I'll send it to them. I'll be like, here you go, guys. What do you think? And I was expecting to get a lot of feedback of like, no, fix this, change this and that. And they're like, no, it looks great. Let's move on to the next thing. And I'm like, what?
Is that why you got a
It's
better computer too? I was like, that'd probably help.
Yeah, that's why we invested in the computers to process things properly.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's such a weird feeling of imposter syndrome because like this time it's like, it's not what I do. I write, I direct, I color correct, I do some editing. This is something that is out of my league.
Yeah. Totally different.
But I'm doing it and it's working. So it's just this extra layer of that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Kicking in being like, but Ethan, you actually can't do this.
No one knows though, so just keep doing it.
That's the conversation in my brain is like, you actually don't know how to do this. I'm like, I know. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. What's going on? And it's like, I don't know, but just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it's been good. It's been a good confidence booster. Like it's been good. Like honestly, like as it's stressful as it's gotten, because it is stressful. I'm working a full-time job as well as doing this editing.
Yeah.
Doing the podcast on top of it. Like it's trying to write, trying to find time to relax. But it makes me happy. It tickles my fancy in the right places, you know?
Yes, indeed.
Sorry for hijacking your question, Matt. How about you? What's your favorite filmmaking memory?
This right now, this was a great memory. Oh wait, this isn't a film. This is a podcast. Come on, Matt.
What about
come on,
all of Quantum? Come on, we had some good
yeah. So I'm
Quantum.
not as adept as filmmaker as Ethan here, but I got one movie under my sleeve, Quantum of Snowflakes. That was high school though. That was fun though. Like, and for a high school movie, I personally think it's not that bad. Like, it's better than Meet the Spartans. Like, that's the bar for sure.
Why did I think there was something else? There was a couple things. Remember, actually, I don't know if you remember this. Remember that friggin', what was it, or Shaw or Telus or SaskTel film challenge that we did in school, and it was like me, you, Sam, Nicole, and Ben did a CSI parody.
I do not remember that.
I will find it. I will see if I can find it. I have DVDs of it somewhere.
Was it terrible?
It was awful. It was hilariously terrible. Because it was like CSI Centennial or something like that.
Oh, that does sound terrible.
It was. We used to film goofy videos here and there in school, but like, I can't even remember what the name. What was the name of the class that we took?
I don't know. It wasn't even called like film or whatever. It was called something else.
Media or something.
Oh yeah,
entertainment or
media arts or something like that. Maybe
it was an acronym too.
It was something weird. And it was actually like a grade 11 credit when we were in grade 12. We were like, hell yeah, because it wasn't available back in like when we were in grade 11.
It was something in communications.
Wasn't it just media communications or something?
No, it was 2 C words, I'm pretty sure.
I feel like it was media something though.
I don't remember, man. All I remember is Mr. Dietrich. That's
he was gold, man. He was gold.
He would have been our age, I think, if I had to guess at how old he was when he was teaching us.
Jeez, don't say that. That would make me feel old.
But no, like it was a fun class, and like it was. I don't know, man. We had like, there were random things we'd film in class. I think it was randomly. Me and you filmed a fight scene, I think, in the hallway randomly.
I don't remember all like the little things that we filmed in that class. I remember like one horror movie that we had to make.
Yep.
And like
I remember that I never finished.
I got into like
stuff.
Alex's trunk, and he like just like drove around, and I was like, okay, I was in his trunk. There's like no seatbelt. And like we're just ripping, like he would just rip around, and I was in the trunk. I was like, that was so stupidly dangerous.
What fun!
It was pretty fun, and I can't remember what that movie was about. Some people with pig masks. I don't know. It was terrible.
Honestly, man, I don't remember a lot of Quantum. I remember, I know I was there. Like after watching it again, I was there for like pretty much all of it.
Dude, you were there for so much of it, and like that's what I remember.
Don't remember a lot of it.
Dude, that's what I remember the most, man. Because like again, that's the only real like anything I would consider somewhat of a film that I made. Like any of those little like 3-minute videos or whatever, like I don't really count those. Like Quantum was at least half hour, so that's at least solid. And seeing as that final project was only supposed to be like 5 minutes, and we made a half hour like film was pretty like balling. I just
know me and you had a lot of fun riffing on it,
dude. Like all the time, man. Like all the time. Like, and that's what it is. Like it's a spoof, so it's supposed to be like just stupid and funny, but it was still better. It was still better than Meet the Spartans. Yes, one of my
better than Quantum of Snow or Quantum of
Solace itself. one of the funniest ones were when we had to film the Q scene where Bond gets his gadgets, and it was at Ben's house, and we were having a party, and everyone was all there, or like our group type parties, you know. And it was like what
nerd parties where nothing happened.
It was like 2 in the morning, and we're like, let's film this scene because it will be awesome. And we use Ben's shower as an elevator, bing, like to open.
But it looked so good, man. It's just with you going up, that pure get smart energy in that moment, man.
Right,
like
right. And then, like, just had, like, the piano bench or something, and you're just handing me, like, a pen and a watch. It was just lame. And
what does this watch do? It tells time?
Fire crazy ninja midgets? Like, that's what the line was. Like,
because wasn't it, like,
time.
all your gadgets... Wasn't all the gadgets I gave you, like, non-gadgets? Like,
yeah pretty much. Like, it tells time. And then I was like, "Oh, what's this pen do? Shoot lasers or whatever?" And you're just like,
It writes stuff down.
And you're like, "I guess you could throw it at people if you were
If you're
desperate
desperate.
housewife." Like, it was just like, and then
What was that? Nothing.
and then you're just
You
like,
better hurry,
okay.
Bond.
And then you gave me a spoon. You're like, you know when the time's right. And then I found pudding on top of the
Oh,
toilet.
pudding.
Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just those moments where we just film, and that's again like. When I was working on the script, it's like, yeah, you have like these ideas of how you want to film things and shoot things, and then when you get there, you're like, no, toss that shit out. How do we make this work right here, right now? Because let's get it done. Especially when it's like 2 in the morning. We didn't have access to locations. Yeah, no, like 2 in the morning. Let's get it done. And then I remember you're like crumpets and tea, and then you go into the back room, and then you like show up again in front of me. Oh, that's when you say take the spoon, and then you
because
leak.
like also like.
And then
also I faded into the room.
Yeah.
And then like I opened the door back up and then closed it again. And then you turn around and I'm in front of you.
No, that was after that part. So like you say like crumpets and tea and you disappear. Then you come back with the spoon. And then you fade back into the background before I can get into the bathroom and be like, oh, look, pudding. You open the door like a crack. And then you close it again because you're just like, oh, shit.
Like, we're still rolling.
He's still standing there. He has not moved yet.
It still works.
That was one of my favorite moments. When we were filming the car chase, that was a lot of fun. Just like getting all the different shots because there was like all those snow hills and stuff around. So we drive up on the snow hills,
the gun randomly,
take the wide one, and like Nicole's car got stuck like twice. That we had to use Ryan Green's truck and like pull her out of the ditch or whatever.
Oh man, now that drifting shot,
and then the drifting when we were doing at the like the snow dump. And we were just all ripping around, drifting. Like, it was, like, we were dumb. Like, but it was so fun.
It was so cold, though. It was so...
And then, like, yeah, one of the favorite ones were me and Green were getting you and Ben, like, your shot after, like, Nicole beat you up. And, like, you guys were outside the car. And you're laying in the ground. And we're like, okay, just lay there. We'll tell you when we got our footage. And then, like, we took it and just pieced out to the cars. And you guys laid there for, like, 5 minutes. And we're just
Did they get it?
Like, and then you guys get up like, oh, what the hell? Like, we'd already like ran away. Like, so it's just like stuff like that. And I think it's just, I don't know. It's like the fun you have. Again, it's the problem solving, but it's the creativity of that problem solving, right? It's not just solving a problem. It's just solving it in the best way possible and just making the best out of it. Like, that was just lots of fun. And yeah, so many memories there. Like, Mason being a goofball, and like in the first scene where I got the Cavalier and then like it gets totaled, and then my brother totaled it, not in the film but like outside in between takes, because we had to film the first scene 2 different days. Thankfully the weather was like pretty much exactly the same, so there's no difference in that, but like then we had to change to like an interior car shot because we had to change vehicles for that shot. But
dude, one of my favorite jokes in that entire film is still like her flipping monkeys.
Yeah, no one gets it though. Like no one gets it.
Barrel of monkeys, and she's just flipping them and hucks them at you.
Yeah, and that day, like we filmed that joke. Like we could not film those, like that scene. We were all laughing so much that day. It took like probably 3 times as long as it should have, like to film that. But
that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah,
man. But like no, like it was like it was.
I mean, I don't want to go through. I don't want to go through the whole background, everything. Maybe we'll talk about that in another episode.
We'll break down some. If you figure out how to get it on your computer digitally, you could sit down and do an audio commentary.
Yeah, that would be fun. Anyway, no, those are just some of my favorite movie making moments, and I hope I have some more as I keep going. And
my favorite movie making moments are the ones that still have to happen.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
there we go. So sweet, so sweet. Anyway, it's probably time we should wrap it up. I should probably get to bed, and I don't know about you, if you want to get to bed or not, or if you want to watch other things.
We'll but, hey man, we ended on an upper, so that's
we
nice.
We dipped low. This has been a roller coaster, and we ended on an upper. So
just like Dear Zachary.
That's God damn it. This is what I'm talking about. Anyway, Ethan, where can the good people find you?
You can find me at Ethan R. Hill at Instagram. You can also find me at Ethan R. Hill on YouTube. You can also find my film that I've talked about fondly, Damned Rights, on realhouse.org. You can rent it, you can stream it, you can download it, you can buy it. You can support me, please.
Please.
Pretty please. I can make more movies, ones that are arguably better. Hopefully. It depends. I don't know.
Oh, man.
But that's where they can find me. Matt, where can they find you?
You can find me over at YouTube on Storytellers for Life. There it's all about helping storytellers believe in their dreams, live their purpose, and of course, tell your stories. So come on by. We have a great time. We're gonna soon be digging into character arcs pretty soon, and we're talking about some like different historical figures and how that all works, and of course, being able to overcome challenges and obstacles in life, especially when it comes to writing and telling stories. Because, like we said, self-doubt, imposter, I was just gonna say disorder. But yeah, like there's very like a lot of emotional and mental things that go into storytelling, whether it's filming, editing, writing. And
a lot of people think it's just easy and you just do it.
Yeah,
it's
no,
nah.
it's not. Like, just crippling self-doubt, man. Crippling. So we also work on different ways where we can overcome those different challenges. So if you're interested in telling stories and maybe you just don't know where to start, or you're looking to get better, or you're just looking to find, group to be have a bit more support, come on by Storytellers for Life. You can also find me at Twitter at Storytellers for Life with the number 4 and then capital L, or Storytellers for L. On Facebook at Storytellers for Life, and Twitch at Storytellers for Life Live.
Womp.
Whamp whamp. And those links will probably be down in the description below if I remember to put them down there. But most likely go check it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. This has been A Feast of Films, episode 24, part 2.
Whoop whoop.
We'll be back next week with episode 25.
Isn't that Star Wars? Aren't we on episode 5 now?
I guess it probably would be. So,
we get to watch episode 5. We get to watch arguably the best made Star Wars film.
Arguably.
How excited are you to actually watch like episode 5?
Hyped, man. I love episode 5. The original trilogy is gold. My favorite's still Return of the Jedi, but
100%.
5 was...
Are we just both counting down to Return of the Jedi and then we just quit after that?
Dude, I don't know what we're gonna do, man. The sequel trilogy, I don't know. There's a lot
Force
of
Awakens,
things.
I feel. Force Awakens, I think we're gonna enjoy, and then after that, it's just gonna be debate city.
And then we're just gonna be, and that's where the fun. This is where the fun begins.
Where the fun begins.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys next week for episode 25. Empire Strikes Back. I'm Matthew Ayalew.
I'm Ethan Arhill.
And that's it for now. We will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everybody.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.
And may the Force be with you next week. Oh.
And always.
And I...